Righto, so I'm working on the wiring. I think I got most of it done yesterday, just with jumper leads, but I can't get that bloody start button to work. And the horn button, I'm not sure if it's broken or what's happening there. That came off. So anyway, I've got a new battery. I had to get one for it anyway. So that's that one there, and there's a bit of foam to lift it up if it's a bit short, and then we've got our fixings, and one of the dash lights wasn't working, so I pulled out the old globe and I've got another one here, so we'll plug that in. Actually, we'll do that right now. Goes in there, so I'm wondering what's so he's in there, right? This tail light has got a mind of its own. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm thinking, I think it might be these clutch wires here. I don't know, because that green wire, one's green and red, goes straight down to the starter solenoid, and the other one's green, which taps into all the greens on every part of the bike. I tested those for continuity, and that green one goes to there, so I don't know if that's got anything to do with it. But we'll put the new battery in and we'll see if we can get that start button to work. So that's my main thing I want to do at the moment. And we want red positive on the left, so not that one, we want this one set up like this, which is good. This battery comes with either way, you can put them however you like. So we'll set them up this way, so yeah, I think they're going to want to go on the top like that. Couple of washers, couple of other little, I don't know, spaces or something there. But anyway, let's go and see how this thing fits. I can piss those jumper leads off. Yeah, because I was just thinking it just might not have been getting enough grunt through there, through that starter solenoid to do the to turn it over, but I don't know. So anyway, let's get, because this one's a bit shorter, so we'll put that pad in the bottom, and then we'll get him in there. Actually, we might not need that pad. That looks to be pretty good. That starter sits down in, I think would go behind there, and then that solenoid's supposed to sit right down in there. This has got to come under here like this. So I tested it with the come on, get in there. I tested it with like just shorting it out between these two, and then also on the starter and earth, and the starter was winding over, so it's definitely working. But got this, needs to get out of the way. Ooh, that was close. So let me just fit this solenoid in there where it's meant to go. Yeah, and that'll sit on the top. I think it could even sit on the side. And then the negative, he's going to come up. I think actually he goes in there maybe, or up in there like that. Anyway, let's just hook it up and see what we get. so it fits in. Negative will go on there. I'll put the positive on first. Yeah, it's going to be a bit more of a nightmare. So yeah, that's not going to fit unless I bend those tabs out. That thing's got tabs on it. I just had my pliers. Where are they? Here. Oh, and I'm going to need a screwdriver. Put him in his box, that might help, mightn't it? No, I don't think we need that that pad in there. Oh, and that says outside, right. Okay. So flatten these tabs out here. And I'll tell you what, we might get some emery paper on that just to give ourselves a fighting chance. Clean it right up. And I found a decal kit for this. They're coming out of, where are they coming out of? Somewhere like bloody Armenia, something like that, in Europe. So, but they're about 100 and probably 200 bucks for the whole set. I think I mentioned I saw them for a lot less than that, but I must have been dreaming, looking at something completely different. So yeah, at least you can get them though. So at least you can still get them. Okay. Right, that one there fits like a new one. And it's been a couple of days I haven't checked those carbs, the boots, carb boots over in that solution we made up, so I'm not sure how they're going, but anyway, we can check them. Yes, I've got everything. I've got high beam, low beam. I've tested that horn that I found in the parts box and it works, like bench test it, but like I say, the horn button's broken there, but it still should work. And like I said, we've got no tail lights, and also the little lights that go in the bottom of the headlights aren't on as well, and they're on the green circuit, and this is on the green circuit. So it's that the green wire might be the issue. I don't know, but whatever. We just got to investigate. Okay, so that's there. Let's see what we got. Righto, we've got all our lights here. Tail light went out because it's got some sort of thing here, some sensor thing here for the tail lights. But we'll put our lights on. So we've got lights. Okay, now our little, oh, that's our dash light. So he's working. So he can go in there. So these are all working in here now. But see these two down in the bottom here? They're not working. They were the other day. So I don't know what's going on. And I reckon they're something to do with the tail light as well, because this is not working. So I have no bloody idea. And we've got indicators left. We've got indicators right. No horn. No start. No start. We've got brake light. Brake light. So, what is it? Oh, hang on. What's that? Let's come off there, that wire. Let's get that one back on there. You're back on there. So yeah, I don't know what it is. This friggin' tail light just has a mind of its own, and it's coinciding with these two little lights up the front. So it's really got me buggered, that one. But let's try and, oh, and we've also got high beam. And we get our high beam light up here. So everything's fantastic except for the start circuit, and I'm thinking it's definitely going to be probably this solenoid, because there's the green and red wire that runs from the starter button. I took the wires off the front and tested the start button because we had to repair that, and that's still good. So we'll turn that off. I'll bridge this clutch switch here. Right, so that's bridged. Now what I'll do is, just to be certain, we'll test it. Right, so that's bridged. Let's try again. Okay, no tail light, no start. So I'm guessing it's probably this old, shitty old solenoid, to be honest. I mean, what else can it be? Fuses are all good, I've checked all them. Any ideas, let me know. Just drive me up the fucking wall when you get everything right, but there's just one gremlin. I had the problem with this Virago here. I got everything running perfect, but there was just one electrical gremlin, and it took me weeks to find it. Anyway, so all our wiring's good here. So everything seems to be good. You know what I mean? So I just don't know. Everything's plugged in, everything's working. All the circuits are completed, like you can see, everything's working. Just except that epoxy friggin' start solenoid. So anyway, what I might do is swap that. They're cheap. You can get them online for cheap as anything. So I'll look in the manual and see if there's a way to test that solenoid. Righto, I've done some looking into things and I'll show you what's going on. So I've just marked where the wires go just in my pencil, but it shows you how to test the starter solenoid here. So you just run power to these two, bridge these two here with positive and negative, and then that's your solenoid. So if I hit it with these two, we're good. Now the starter button, okay, the starter button is the green and red, here, and the yellow and red here. Okay, so if I hit the starter button, I've got continuity there. So that should bridge those two, and you know, and crank it. But something's going on. Right here is this little thing here is called the clutch diode. Okay, so I've taken that out and tested it. It tests fine. So I'm at a bit of a bloody loss here. The only other thing I can think of is these terminals. I might squash them down a bit because they might not clamp onto there good enough. So I might squash them down so they really make good contact with that, and then see how we go. But then that doesn't solve the problem of the tail light, which I mentioned, because that's still an issue. Like everything was working, so except for this starter. Like I had the tail light going, I had the two little lights in the front there going, which are on the same circuit as the tail light. So yeah, it really is strange. But anyway, that's electrics for you. So we've got, what do we got? Green and red on this one. Yeah, that's a nice tight fit, so that should be fine. Yellow and red next to it is the one that gets bridged. So we'll take him over the top there. Yellow and red. Help if I had some light here, but yellow and red on there. Red on this one. Okay, and I'd say that's for the whole circuit that gives us our power to the entire system. And then red and white, which goes to the voltage regulator, goes on there. Right, so they're on, and so everything's hooked up. So we should have power now, which we do. We have lights, and we have a tail light now. There we go. And then down here we have our plate light. So that's good. Alright. So I think now we should have starter. Let's try. Nope. No starter. So I wonder what's going on. there's something. So we've got our tail light, so that's one thing out of the way. I still think it's something to do with this stupid clutch thing, to be honest. Oh wait, that was switch. No. Unless it's this now, unless it's our on-off switch here that's playing up now. That's pretty much all it could be. Really? So is this switch here? So I might have to pull that off and have another look at that. What's this one like? That one actually feels better. So we've got our little lights down here now, whatever they are. I'd say they're our Parkers. So they're our Parkers. So we've got them, and our tail light, and our brake light. So, and our indicators. Oh, hang on. Looks like that globe's blown just for something, just to be funny. That's no big deal. Righto. So, the only thing it can be is this switch here, this run switch. So, let's have a look at that. Alright, after no sleep last night, just trying to work out what is going on with this, because I tested every wire from the solenoid back, and I just had me absolutely stuffed why, you know, it was working before but it wasn't. I pulled all the switches apart, cleaned them, done everything. I glued that horn switch back on. Indicators are working now. Oh yeah, speak too soon. Yeah, indicators are working. So we're good there. Lights, we're good there. Parkers, I worked out why these Parkers and the tail light keep going off. If I fiddle with the ignition switch, they'll go off. If I turn it too far, so that's that, bizarre. And it turns out after everything, this black wire here on this connector, when I pushed this connector in, that black wire had popped out. That spade had popped out. That's all it was. So I clipped that back in, put some dielectric grease on there, and now we've got, it'll turn over. So thank goodness for that. Right, now I'm going to get all this wiring sorted out, get the dash fitted in, and we'll keep moving. Right, now that we've got all that electric squared away, let's get these carb boots out of this soup. They've been in there 2 days, I think, maybe 3. Let's see how they look, or feel, more to the point. Oh yeah, they're very soft. Look at that. Yeah, this one here was a pain in the ass to get out. There we go. So look at that, if you can see that. Huge difference. They are like brand new. Absolutely beautiful. Well, that works a treat. Couldn't even budge those before we put them in. So excellent. I might decant this into another container. because I'm going to want to use that again maybe for the boots that go on the back of the carb. So I'll see if I can find another container. Yeah, what's this? Nasty old oil in there. I don't think it's going to be big enough, but we'll try. So yeah, that's a big thumbs up for that that oil, that wintergreen oil. So there you go. If you ever want to soften carb boots, they might have swollen a bit, so they reckon if you just leave them for another day or so, they'll shrink back to their where they're meant to be. But look at that, that's amazing. Absolutely stoked with that, considering they're rock hard. There we are. Bloody beautiful. Alright, we'll get those carbs on. He's got a little nick there, but I don't think that's going to hurt anything. We'll put this goop back in here. We'll save that because that's a winner. Righto, I'll give these a wash and then we'll get the carbs back on. Righto, so to get these rear boots in, absolutely impossible to get those in, to fit, to get that to go into the air box, because as you can see, it's really, there's like 5mm thickness here. So you've got to stretch them right over and it's just impossible to get them in. So what I've done is pick the two best ones. You can see they're pretty funky, and up the top they're still fairly soft, but up the top here they're rock hard. So I've had to take the entire air box out to get these out. So to do that, you got to basically strip it right. You got to strip it right back, back wheel off, mudguard off, and get the pull the air box out from the back. So what I'm going to do now is soak the two best ones in the goo. We'll leave that for a few days, soften that right up. I'll put a lid on this so it doesn't evaporate, or I'll put some plastic and tape best I can so it doesn't evaporate, and then yeah, come back when that's all nice and soft and keep going. Okay, this has been in overnight, so let's check it out. See if we've had any success softening these boots. Not too bad, but it's mainly up in this spot right here, which is not very soft. Hasn't really worked. Maybe they need to stay in longer, but yeah, it's this section here is still quite hard. The rest of it's alright. That fits. Yeah, same with this one. Still really hard up there. So yeah, no, we might need to leave those a bit longer, a couple more days. Which is a shame. I was hoping to get this together. Because yeah, it's going to be impossible to get them over there. I suppose we could just persevere, but yeah, I think we'll persevere and see if we can get them. So it looks like that there's some sharp edges here. We'll cut those off, and yeah, we'll see if we can get it over. Alright, after a bit of ginning around, I ended up getting those on. Just had to get it over that tough bit at the bottom first, and they slipped right over that lip, and then they just pushed in. Got the screens back in, if you can see in there. So now let's get these carbies on and get this thing back together. So probably won't need to lube up the oh, actually I've got to get these cables on first, so I remember how they go. I'll have a bit of a look. Hang on, sit those in there.